Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, wherever you may be around the world. I'm most honored to have the opportunity to speak on patient engagement, what matters to patients. This is an important topic for the patients to live well with kidney disease. In the position paper for World Kidney Day 2021, Towards Patient-Centered Care for People Living with Kidney Disease, we have highlighted the need for a continuum of engagement at direct care level, organization level, and policy-making level. For organization level, there's a need to survey patients about their care experience. And I'll put it to you, there's also a need to find out how our patients are doing and what matters to them. For patients with kidney disease, it's a lifelong journey. From awareness of the kidney disease to protect their own kidneys, to identify who may be at risk, making a diagnosis. Then there's a need to accept the disease, understand the disease, and learn how to manage the disease. The management is not easy. There's a need to treat the underlying disease to slow down the deterioration, manage the symptoms, and also secondary prevention. For some unfortunate patient who may move on to end-stage kidney failure, there's a need to work out the renal replacement therapy, the options, and how to optimize them. I'll also put it to you, there's a need to plan for the future, not only on medical care, but also on family, work, lifestyle, life impact, and financial matters as well. It is very much a case of engagement of the patient right from beginning to the end. At some stage, they have to be actively participating in the care, and you will be even better if they can be empowered to look after themselves. ISN has already outlined the conceptual framework on living well with kidney disease, clinical strategies, symptoms, life impacts, and a strength-based approach. We call upon you to turn this framework into action. Engage the patients for patient-centered care with a focus on the symptoms and the life impacts. I would like to share with you what we have done in Hong Kong for the World Kidney Day. Hong Kong Kidney Foundation and Hong Kong Society of Nephrology have jointly developed a questionnaire for patients for self-assessment and reflection on whether they are living well with kidney disease or not. We have conducted a survey with this questionnaire to see how our group of patients are managing with living well, what may be troubling them, what matters to them, what they would like others, such as healthcare professionals, healthcare system, family and friends to help them. And equally important is how they can help themselves. It is a very simple questionnaire saying that I'm a patient on hemodialysis or peritonitis. My assessment of I'm living well with kidney disease with a score of 1 to 10. And then they select the list of symptoms, physical, psychological, and life impact that may be affecting them or concerning them. The lists are shown here. They are outlined in the framework already. The physical symptoms, we'll separate out the psychological symptoms and add in 1 or 2 extra. Stress, anxiety, depression, and concern about our futures. And there's also a list of life impact things. We envisaged that they may select more than 1 item, or in fact, quite a few items from each categories. So we asked them to focus on the top 3 items, problems and concern that matters to them most, that we can focus on with them. We also guide them through a list of action which they could do for themselves to make life better and live well with kidney disease, such as comply with medical advice, medications, comply with dialysis, to be empowered, keep fit, eat well, watch your body weight, etc. We also allow them to write down what they would like others to do to help them, to support them, so that they could live well with kidney disease. They can use an online Google form to complete the survey or a hard copy, and it will take only about 5 minutes for them to complete the survey. It's quite straightforward. So in Hong Kong in January this year, we have conducted a survey for all our patients online. Because of the COVID, we couldn't meet them together. We received 1,138 returns, and the findings were actually reported in the World Kidney Day webinar that was held on Sunday with our patients and also with our healthcare professionals. As the president of the International Federation of Kidney Foundation, I have offered this concept and this questionnaire to our members And I'm pleased to know that they find the concept and approach interesting, and they have adopted the questionnaire and translate into their own language and they conduct a survey. In January and February, 8 members countries have actually conducted the survey and have received a return from 7 of them, including 4,800 returns. It's a challenge for me now to share with you the preliminary findings from this pilot study, as there's so many data. What I'd like to do is to share with you the top 5 items, symptoms, concerns, and options that for each of the questions that the patient group has reported from these 7 organizations. I'll show you some idea on the preference of the top 5 and show you the variation. In fact, there's very little variation between the countries. The patient have scored between 5.8 to 6.8 in terms of overall score of 10. There's a little variation, but not much. On the questions is to identify those physical problems that's concerning you. The number of centers reporting fatigue and sleep problems as one of the top 5 items. All of them have actually done that. All 7 centers have reported fatigue and sleep problems. 5 reported pruritus, 4 on cramped, 3 on thirsty and fluid restriction as a problem, and mobility as well. So all of them find fatigue and sleep problem as a major problem, which is probably more than we appreciate. This is a busy slide, but I just want you to focus on the fact that fatigue actually is the top percentage return by the patients. 71% of the patients for Hungarian actually find fatigue as a major problem. Others find 56%, 61%. You can also see here sleep problem is also quite prominent problem. Up to 48% of patients in India Renal Foundation as well. On the psychological problem, they all find concern about the future as a common concern that they all face with. They all find a variable degree of anxiety, stress, and depression, as shown here. Concern about futures, 66%, 58%, 67%. The high percentage of anxiety or even under stress, and even some report as being depressed by the patient as well. On the life impact, 6 of the 7 centers returned that their patients very concerned about financial impact and the ability to work, ability to travel, change in lifestyle, and also the diet restriction as well. This slide also shows you that here the financial impact was top number 1 concern by many organizations, patients from many organizations. So it's ability to work, dark green color here, ability to travel, and diet restriction as well. As we envisage that all of them have take many concerns, so we asked them to prioritize the top 3, and this is what they return. Of the 7 organizations who returned their result to us, all 7 of them report their patient find fatigue as a major problem, concern about futures, financial impacts, and sleep problem as well. And this is quite interesting finding. On what I can do for myself to live well with kidney disease, this is somewhat a guiding question for them to learn how to help themselves. It seems that they are all very good patients in terms that they will comply with medical advice, including medication, take better care of themselves, they will eat well, they eat smart, and they comply with dialysis. But I would like to point out to you, they have not actually chosen some items such as willingness to be empowered for self-care, self-reflection and sharing with the problem of other people, and none of them actually make a high priority of making plans for the future, which I think is very important. So I would like to sum up by saying that with this pilot study, we'll find that what concerns patients most is the fatigue, concern about the futures, concern about the financial impact, and they have problem with the sleep problem as well. We need to focus on this problem for them. So there's a call for action to engage patients, to be aware of what is troubling them, concerning them, understand what matters to them most. It's a process of engagement, partnerships, and empowerment. So there's a call to identify and manage the symptoms even better than what we are doing now. Researching the symptoms such as fatigue and see what we can do for our patients. We need to optimize the treatment. We need to address the psychological elements and also reduce the impact on their lives. The survey is on the group of patients. At the end of the day, what's important is for each individual patient I take the view that we need a self-evaluation tools, such as apps on hard copy, that allow the patient to self-evaluate themselves so that they can present their problem to the healthcare doctors, the people who work with them, so that they can understand the problem they're faced with. At the end of the day, it's most important that we help them to look after themselves, to engage them, and to be empowered. And we will work with them together. I thank you for your attention.